guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Bea, and today I'm going to be telling you guys about the time that my friends and I made a homemade Ouija board and it actually worked and it accidentally brought through a demon. So before we get into this video, make sure you subscribe to my channel for more videos like this and make sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Anyway, let's get right into the video. So this took place in May of 2017, so it was roughly nearly 2 years ago. My friends and I, we used to all work together. We're no longer friends anymore, basically probably frenemies. So in this video, for the case of us not being friends, I'm going to name them Sarah and Louise, so we don't release their real names. Anyway, so Sarah and Louise, we all used to work together, and at this time of the year, Louise was actually 8 months pregnant, so she wasn't working with us, and it was just me and Sarah all working together. And for about 2 months, we were all obsessed with playing the Ouija board. We thought it was a good idea. So at work, we have a lot of spare cardboard after we've stocked all the shelves and stuff. So we decided that we would make a Ouija board at work and leave it there until we're ready to play with it. So one day I was at home, it wasn't my day of work, and Sarah was at work, and she decided that she would make a Ouija board and send it in the little group chat that we had, and we were like, oh my god, you actually made it. And she also made the planchette, and she put the planchette on top of it. Now, before I get into the video, this is how we made the Ouija board. We got a piece of cardboard. It was probably roughly about an A4 size we cut it down to. We used a black permanent marker to write down all the numbers and letters and goodbye and yes and no. And we used a bottle of just a 1 litre water bottle, plastic water bottle. We cut the bottom off it and we used that as the planchette. So, and when you have to follow certain rules when you're playing a Ouija board, and one of them is to never leave the planchette on the board unattended. And that night, she left it on top of the board at work, on top of the shelf, and the next morning when we went to work to have a look at it, it wasn't there. And during the night at work, there's no cleaners that come in. It's our storeroom, we have to keep it clean. So no one could have moved it, no one knew we had it there, so that was really creepy. And after that we didn't talk about it for a little while, and then one night, it was a stormy night, I was sick, my friend was 8 months pregnant, and Sarah was bored, so them two were at Louise's house, I was at home, and they decided to show up on my doorstep, and I was like, great, I can't be bothered doing anything. And they were like, you're coming over to my house, we're gonna have a girls' night and we're just gonna chill and relax. So I was like, okay, sounds good. And at this time, we were actually deciding on starting our own YouTube channel together. So they were like, bring your equipment and we might film a video. So I was like, okay. So while Louise was cooking in the kitchen, I was hanging out with her, and Sarah was in the living room making a Ouija board. And we decided that we were going to make a Ouija board that night and see what happened, and we were going to film it. I did film the whole entire thing, but it gets creepy from there. So she made the board. We put white candles all around the table. We had crucifix with us, we had water. It wasn't holy water, but it was water, it was close enough. And we dimmed the lights. I did have my filming light on and I had my camera on, and we left the camera rolling the whole entire time. We didn't turn it off. It said it was recording. We checked it. My camera was brand new at the time, so it wasn't broken. While we were playing the Ouija board, the first moment we put our fingers on the board, we didn't think it was going to work. No way in hell did we think it was going to work. I mean, it's homemade. What do you expect? But when we did, it started moving. And the first name it went to was exactly, it should be in the title because I'm not going to say its name. My cousin actually scared me about saying its name, so I'm not going to say it, but you know it starts with a Z and I'm not going to say it. It came through. And these dumbasses were like, oh cool. They didn't know who it was. So I was like, goodbye. We are saying goodbye. End of story. And I was like, I'm not playing that again. No way. Like, if it's just gonna go straight to that, no way am I gonna play this again. Anyway, so they talked me back into it. We started playing again, and yes, it went straight back to that name. And I was like, you guys messing around, because I'm not gonna play this if you guys are messing around with me. It's not funny to mess around with something like that, because when you're playing a Ouija board, it's 50-50, you never know what you're gonna get. You're messing with another world that you don't know what is out there. Anyway, so they proved it to me that we weren't actually messing around. We just hovered our fingers above the planchette. None of us was barely even touching it, and it started moving. And my heart sunk, and I was just petrified. I was like, this can't be happening, this isn't actually working. But it was. And then after a while, it was just spelling out weird things. We asked when Louise's baby would be due. It obviously gave us a different date. It wasn't the right date. But they also told us like a lot of different things, and then we asked a number question, which you shouldn't do. Because it was trying to get out of the board, and that was one rule that I didn't actually know until, because we had the rules up on our phones and we were following the rules as we went, even though you're not safe when you play this sort of stuff. But anyway, we tried to be as safe as we could. So it was just putting out a number, and I was like, wow, that's a really big number. And then they were like, stop, it's trying to get out of the board. And then I was like, oh hell no. And so we went to goodbye, and I was like, that's it, I've had enough, I'm not playing this. Now also keep in mind, when the Z word thing tries to come out of the board, it also, because it's spelt double, if you know what I mean, like the spelling. Anyway, so there was this other demon that was trying to get out, but it was M-A and then spell that again, I'm not saying it. Tried to get out, and Sarah was playing the board by herself at the time, and that is one thing that you're not supposed to do when you're playing a Ouija board, is play it by yourself. But I'd had enough of it. The pasta was burning in the kitchen, so Louise was attending to that, and I was just watching Sarah. I'm like, are you crazy? And she's like, no, it's talking to me, it's giving me like a clear message. I think it's like someone's passed over. And I'm like, no, it's not, that's a demon. Like, are you kidding me? Anyway, so she closed off that. Pasta was ready. We all decided that we were just going to sit and watch a movie. It was storming, thundering outside. We were scared that the power was going to go off. We did ask her a few more questions and stuff, but it was just all boring stuff, you know, just the usual sort of stuff. Then we sat down and we watched a movie. With the board, we left it to the side of the room, and then when I was leaving, we put it in the back of her car. We threw away the planchette, obviously, because it was just a little plastic thing. We put it in the bin. And then she left it in her car for a couple of weeks, and then she threw it in her neighbour's bin, because when you have something like this, you have to dispose of it in a proper way or get rid of it. You know, you can't just burn it and stuff, like a thing comes out. I don't know. I didn't keep in charge of it. Anyway, so then probably about a month later, we decided that we were going to watch the footage. We didn't watch it on the day. I guess we just didn't want to see if anything was on there, you know, like any background noises and stuff. Anyway, so keep in mind, this was playing the whole entire time. We did not pause, we did not stop. It was a new SD card. There's no way it could just cut itself off. It's unexplainable. Anyway, so when we went and watched it, the only thing that was played was just when we were just laughing at the end, just like joking, mucking around before we started the Ouija board, after, like all the times we stopped and started, because we played it a numerous amount of times. It was only showing the times when we were starting and we're like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared. All the times when we stopped and we're like, oh my god, did that actually just happen? It never showed us actually playing the Ouija board. And that's just, we don't know how that happened. We did follow all the rules. So basically, when you are playing a Ouija board, it's safer to play it in a house that you don't own. You have to play it somewhere where you don't own. My friend was renting at the time, so we played it in her house because she didn't own the house. It wasn't owned by her, so something about the spirits. Can't get in there. Okay, so there are 21 Ouija board rules that we followed before we started playing the Ouija board, because we didn't know what we were going to expect. We didn't know what we were getting into. So we did look on the internet, obviously, to find out what the rules were. And these were 21 of the rules. I'm just going to read them out briefly, just in case if you're deciding to make a Ouija board or you want to play it, just make sure, keep in mind that you're careful and you're safe when you play this. So number one, Ouija boards are obviously not a joke. It is actually really creepy. It's not all fun and games. Two, the most important rule is to never taunt or go to the spirit, because there will be consequences if you make fun of it, obviously. Never ask a Ouija board when you're going to die. You don't want to know. That sort of stuff. That's just because they'll probably possess you. I don't know. Spirits, number 4. Spirits can talk to you through the Ouija board. You can tell them anything you want. Just because a spirit says something does not mean it's true, which is very true, because that Ouija board told us like obviously the date of her daughter would be born, and it was completely way off. It said that we'll be traveling way off. So just never believe what you do read, what comes through. Number 5, never use a Ouija board alone. The more people that you're using Ouija board with, the better, because obviously you're protected more. I don't know, something like that. Number 6, do not use a Ouija board if you're home alone. If you do, you can connect with a malevolent spirit, and the energy will be in your home and it'll be harder to break contact, which is really creepy. That's why I obviously do it with friends and do it in a place that you don't own. Number 7, one person in the group should be the leader, which the leader in our group was Sarah. Number 8, if you're using a Ouija board and you're not the leader, you should keep your fingers on the planchette and remain silent, which we all did. We just whispered to each other, I guess. But none of us actually asked questions or made a noise. We were just too scared to. So Sarah was the one with the balls. She did it all. So she didn't really believe in it. She was a bit of a skeptic. So kind of that's why we picked her as leader. Number 9, the leader should not ask joke questions. Number 10, one person should be assigned the task of keeping track of the answers. You can write down the letters or the words on a notepad and translate in the group what the spirit is saying. I think we did that. I'm pretty sure we did. I must have done. Number 11, do not leave the planchette on the board. Otherwise it'll come out of the board, basically. Number 12, if you want to take a break, have one person keep their hand on the planchette to stay connected to the energy you've built. Number 13, always end your sessions with the Ouija board by saying goodbye, and I cannot express this enough. If you're playing with that or dabbling in that sort of stuff, say goodbye or else face the consequences. The location you should use should be ideally dark and free of background noise. Number 15, if spirits start communicating with you through the board and counting down or going through the alphabet, immediately end the session by saying goodbye. This is a common theme in Ouija users who have connected a malevolent spirit that is trying to leave the board. As I said earlier, that's what happened. Number 16, if the spirit starts communicating with you by making a planchette, make a figure 8 or infinity symbol, immediately end the session by saying goodbye. That actually did that to us. When we started, we didn't actually realise until a bit later that that's not how it's supposed to be, so that was a bit creepy. So obviously when we first started playing it went straight to the name that's down in the title, you know what I'm saying, and yeah, creepy. Number 17, if you begin to suspect that you are in contact with a bad spirit, immediately end the session by putting the planchette on goodbye. Number 18, if you speak to the spirit who identifies as, you know what I'm saying, end the session and say goodbye. 19, do not use the Ouija board in a cemetery. 20, if you're experiencing depression, it may be good to avoid a Ouija board. That kind of energy draws in malevolent spirits. At the time, obviously I was saying I was sick, and yeah, when you're depressed you shouldn't be using that sort of stuff, but you know, also it's a bad idea, just don't use it altogether. Number 21, never burn a Ouija board. This can do more damage than simply leaving it untouched in the closet. If you are having problems with the Ouija board, store the planchette and board separately. So if you are thinking about playing a Ouija board, or making one for that instance, make sure you're aware of the stuff that can happen and the consequences. Make sure you go through the rules, make sure you're safe, and never play alone or in a house that you own. Now, after that happened, we never actually had anything bad happen, I guess. Touch wood. But yeah, I use different names for them in this video as we're not friends anymore, and I don't want them to accidentally come across this and clash, because there's no intention to have a go at them or whatever, if that's what they think, because they're probably seeing this video. It's just letting people know about the Ouija board and that it does work if you decide to buy it, or if you decide to make it. Either way, it is going to work. It just draws off your energy. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this little story time which happened to me about 2 years ago. There are going to be more paranormal experiences going up on this channel. I will be doing videos every Saturday. So make sure to subscribe, give this video a big thumbs up for more videos like this, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye guys!